Hello and welcome back to our series on the Ottoman Sultans. Today, we are diving into the reign of a ruler who took the throne amidst chaos and spent his life putting the pieces back together. Mahmud I, his story is one of recovery, resilience, and rebuilding a shaken empire. When Mahmud I ascended to the throne in 1730, the Ottoman capital, Istanbul, was in flames, metaphorically speaking. A massive popular uprising, known as the Patrona Halil Revolt, had just overthrown his uncle, Sultan Ahmed III. The rebels, a mix of disgruntled janissaries, artisans, and the urban poor, were furious over new taxes, perceived corruption, and the lavish, Western-influenced lifestyle of the elite during the Tulip period. The city was in the grip of anarchy, and the very foundations of the state seemed to be crumbling. This was the world Mahmud inherited. He was 34 years old and had spent most of his life in the gilded cage of the Topkapi Palace, a prince confined by the system designed to prevent succession crises. Now he was suddenly thrust into the center of the storm. His first and most urgent task was to restore order. The leader of the revolt, Patrona Halil, an Albanian janissary and former bathhouse attendant, held the real power in the capital. He and his followers roamed the streets, dictating policy and terrorizing the populace. Mahmud had to play a very careful game. He initially appeased the rebels, appointing their chosen candidates to high office and agreeing to their demands. He even had to watch as they destroyed the magnificent pleasure palaces and gardens built during the Tulip period, symbols of the era they so despised. But this was all a calculated strategy. Mahmud was quietly gathering support from loyal military commanders, palace officials, and the ulama, the religious establishment, who were horrified by the breakdown of law and order. Just a few weeks into his reign, Mahmud made his move. He lured Patrona Halil and his key lieutenants to the palace under the pretense of a council meeting. Once they were inside, they were ambushed and executed. The rebellion was decapitated in one swift, decisive stroke. With the leaders gone, Mahmud's loyal forces quickly moved through the city, crushing the remaining pockets of resistance. The message was clear. The Sultan was back in control. The immediate crisis was over, but the deep-seated problems that caused it remained. Mahmud I's reign, which lasted for 24 years, was defined by the long, difficult process of rebuilding. He wasn't a flashy conqueror or a revolutionary reformer in the mold of later sultans. Instead, he was a pragmatist, a stabilizer. He understood that the empire needed healing, not more upheaval. His primary focus was on restoring the authority of the central government, reforming the military, and securing the empire's borders. One of his most significant challenges was the military, particularly the Janissary corps. The Patrona Halil revolt had shown just how dangerous and politically volatile they had become. While Mahmud couldn't simply disband this powerful institution, he worked to bring it back under control. He purged disloyal elements, reinforced discipline, and tried to professionalize the army. This was crucial because the empire was still fighting wars on multiple fronts. To the east, the long-running conflict with Persia now, under the brilliant but ruthless military leader Nader Shah, flared up again. Nader Shah was a formidable opponent who inflicted several defeats on the Ottomans. The wars were costly and drained the treasury, but Mahmud's commanders managed to hold the line, preventing a complete collapse on the Eastern Front. After years of brutal fighting, a peace treaty was finally signed in 1746, largely restoring the pre-war borders. It was a hard-won stalemate, but it secured the empire's eastern flank for a generation. Meanwhile, in the west, the Ottomans had a more surprising success. They went to war with both Austria and Russia. This seemed like a recipe for disaster, but under Mahmud's leadership, the Ottoman military showed a remarkable resurgence. The army, benefiting from some of the reforms, fought with renewed vigor. The key figure here was a French convert to Islam named Claude Alexandre de Bonneville, who became known as Humber Ahmed Pasha. He was an expert in artillery and military engineering, and he helped modernize the Ottoman artillery corps, the Humberaks. Thanks to these military improvements and effective generalship, the Ottomans won a series of stunning victories, most notably at the Battle of Graka in 1739. The Austrians were decisively defeated, and in the subsequent Treaty of Belgrade, the Ottomans regained the city of Belgrade and other territories in the Balkans that they had lost 2 decades earlier. This was a massive morale boost for the empire. It proved that the Ottomans were still a major European power and could defeat a modern Western army. It was the last great military victory of the Ottoman Empire against a major European foe and a testament to the success of Mahmud's recovery efforts. Beyond the battlefield, Mahmud I was also a great patron of architecture and culture, but in a more subdued and traditional style than his predecessor. He was a devout Muslim and sought to reaffirm the empire's Islamic identity after the perceived excesses of the Tulip period. He commissioned the construction of numerous mosques, libraries, fountains, and other public works. The most famous of these is the magnificent Nuras Manai Mosque in Istanbul. Although it was completed by his successor, its construction began under Mahmud and it marks a significant shift in Ottoman architecture, blending traditional elements with the new Baroque style seeping in from Europe. This Ottoman Baroque style would define the city's skyline for the next century. He also oversaw the rebuilding of the Grand Bazaar after a major fire and established the first Ottoman paper mill, a crucial step for the spread of knowledge and bureaucracy. He was a cultured man himself, known for his love of poetry, calligraphy, and chess. He understood that rebuilding the empire wasn't just about military and administrative reform. It was also about restoring its cultural confidence and spiritual heart. However, his reign wasn't without its internal struggles. The economy remained fragile, and the treasury was often strained by the constant warfare. Mahmud had to navigate the complex web of palace politics, balancing the influence of the Grand Vizier, the chief religious scholar, and the powerful Queen Mother, the Valide Sultan. Yet he managed to maintain stability for over 2 decades. A remarkable achievement given the turbulent start to his reign. He was known for being a just and patient ruler who listened to his advisors but ultimately made his own decisions. He successfully avoided the kind of internal revolt that had brought him to power. In 1754, after a long Friday prayer, Mahmud I returned to the Topkapi Palace on horseback. As he dismounted, he collapsed and died, likely from a heart attack. He had ruled for 24 years, steering the Ottoman Empire from the brink of collapse to a period of relative stability and renewed strength. Mahmud I is often overshadowed by more famous sultans like Suleiman the Magnificent or Mehmed the Conqueror. He didn't dramatically expand the empire's borders or preside over a golden age of artistic splendor, but his contribution was perhaps just as vital. He was the great stabilizer, the quiet rebuilder. He inherited a state in chaos and left it secure, its military reinvigorated, and its capital adorned with new, enduring monuments. He proved that an empire in decline could still fight back, reform, and recover. His reign was a crucial bridge, a period of consolidation that allowed the Ottoman Empire to endure for another century and a half. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the life of Sultan Mahmud I, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next episode. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time.